Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is our Friday news dump. We are going to cover all of the news you need to hear before the weekend is here, so you don't have to worry about it. You'll know what's going on in the world, and you can come back on Monday and we'll tell you what you missed. So you can have a free weekend, do whatever you will. This is Before Coffee, the father and daughter comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast, where we look up our stories 10 to 15 minutes before we've started, and we haven't had any caffeine, rolled out of bed, and we're trying to learn to read on stream. Let's try to read our headlines for today's show. Today on Friday News Dump, Americans detained trying to send rice, Bibles, and dollar bills to North Korea. Whoops.
And Iran's uranium stocks said to be intact, according to intelligence sources. And the Rubin Observatory takes its first look at the night skies.
What is DeepSeek, and why should I care about them banning it in Europe?
Also, we'll be remembering journalist Bill Moyers, who has died at the age of 91.
Let's talk about the Jeff Bezos wedding that is being covered with protests over protests in Venice.
Oh yes, and if you've got PTSD from the Jeff Bezos wedding, it's your day. It's National PTSD Awareness Day, June 27th, 2025 on Before Coffee.
It's a very things day today. We have all of the stuff that's going to be happening, I see.
Orange Blossom Day. Oranges must blossom late. That's why they got that long growing
Oh, do
season.
they? Oh, I didn't know you were an orange farmer in your past life.
Well, it's Orange Blossom Day. Why would you have Orange Blossom Day unless there's orange blossoms to look at, right?
No, I mean, there's a lot of things that produce late, like peppers, too. You know, peppers take the whole summer to grow. We're actually growing jalapenos here, which this is not jalapeno country. They finally started peppering.
Walnuts have their little flowery things that hang late, and then they freaking grow really fast, and they're ripe by July, you know?
Really? Oh, yeah. So it starts and then it's ready, and then you have to get it out before the birds get them.
Oh, they're already falling. Not the birds, the freaking squirrels. The squirrels here get them before they fall now. Because, well, last year they did. Anyway.
Let's roll our segue for the first story. We're going to talk about Americans maybe doing some stupid things. This is more of a lighthearted news before the weekend here.
What a shock.
Yeah, hypothetical. What would you do if you were sending Bibles to North Korea? This is from Al Jazeera. Is it written by someone specifically on Al Jazeera, or is it just from Al Jazeera? I think they put their authors at the bottom. Nah, it just says source is Al Jazeera, so they source themselves. 6 U.S. nationals.
Al Jazeera.
Yeah. 6 U.S. nationals were taken into custody in South Korea near a restricted border area with North Korea. South Korean authorities have detained citizens who are attempting to send an estimated 1,300 plastic bottles filled with rice, U.S. dollar bills, and Bibles. How do you do you put all the papers of the Bible inside the plastic bottle? There's like little baby Bibles in there, maybe? In Korean,
like
right? So they can read them. But they're sending them Bibles in English. Good luck reading. And to North Korea by sea, according to a news report. So this is like littering. They're just littering the ocean with plastic bottles. The U.S. suspects were apprehended in the early hours of today, Friday, the 27th of June, after they were caught trying to release the bottles into the sea from Gwanghwa Island near a restricted frontline border area with North Korea, South Korea's official Yonhap news agency reports. The 6 were taken into custody after a coastal military unit guarding the area reported them to the police. The area in question is restricted to the public after being designated a danger zone in November due to its proximity to the north. Activists floating plastic bottles or flying balloons across South Korea's border with the north have long caused tensions on the Korean peninsula. An administrative order banning the launch of anti-Pyongyang propaganda towards the north is already in effect for the area, according to Yonhap. On June 14th, police detained an activist for allegedly flying balloons towards North Korea from Gwanghwa Island. Two South Korean police officers confirmed the detentions of the 6 with the Associated Press news agency, but gave no further details. How long are they going to be in there? When are they going to come out? Who knows? In 2023, South Korea's Constitutional Court struck down a 2020 law that criminalized the sending of leaflets and other items from North Korea, calling it an excessive restriction on free speech. So it's been decriminalized. They are not committing some sort of federal crime against Korea, but they are still, I guess, not allowed to do it. More of a ban, less so illegal. But since taking the office in early June, the new liberal government of President Lee Jae-myung is pushing to crack down on such civilian campaigns with other safety-related laws to avoid a flare-up in tension in Korea and promote the safety of frontline South Korean residents. Lee took office with a promise to restart long dormant talks with North Korea and establish peace on the peninsula. His government has halted frontline anti-Pyongyang propaganda loudspeaker broadcasts, and similar North Korean broadcasts have not been heard in South Korean frontline towns since then. It remains unclear if North Korea will respond to Lee's conciliatory gesture after it pledged last year to sever relationships with South Korea and abandon the goal of peaceful Korean unification. Official talks between the Koreas have been stalled since 2019, when the U.S.-led diplomacy on North Korean denuclearization derailed. Who was in power in 2019?
That orange guy.
Yeah. Anyways, there is your story on some little fun news. You know, nobody was hurt, except for maybe the ocean, because they're polluting it with plastic bottles full of dollar bills. I don't know what they're gonna do with currency that means nothing to them. But I don't think they have they might have an exchange.
Black market. Black market, man. If you're in North Korea and you got $1 or like $50, you can probably buy a lot of shit that no one else can get.
But it's more like it only has value if you give it value. So otherwise, it's just a piece of paper.
True. But if you're a black marketeer, the frickin' North Korean money ain't worth shit to you, right? You'd have to launder it somehow.
I'm sure they have exchanges there because they do have tourists that go to.
They go have exchanges, but like, I do have some North Korean money here somewhere. I have a money collection.
Oh yeah.
All right, my hypothetical.
Okay.
I guess my hypothetical is wouldn't it have been cool if the Korean War just consisted just of this, right? Just sending balloons with messages. My God, information, make it stop.
Instead of, sending a bunch of people from all over the UN or NATO countries beat up North Korea, I guess.
Yeah, what the North Korean internet must look like. Do what you're told. No, that's it. That's all the internet has for you today. Same as yesterday. Do what you're told.
Okay, let's roll our next segue for your story. Or stories.
Now we're going to talk about the potentials for war.
It's alliteration headline time.
Alliteration headline. We're going to talk about Iran getting bombed last week. And speculation is that they got a warning beforehand because they really didn't do any damage to the nuclear program. This is from Euronews.com. Gavin Blackburn. Iran's uranium stock said to be intact. UK media citing European intelligence probe. Iran's stockpile of highly enriched uranium is believed to be largely intact following U.S. strikes on the country's main nuclear sites. The Financial Times reported on Thursday, citing European officials. The newspaper, citing two people briefed with preliminary intelligence assessments, said European capitals believe the Iran stockpile of 408 kilograms of uranium enriched close to weapons-grade levels was not being held in Fordow and may have been moved prior to U.S. strikes on Sunday because they knew we were coming. Because our government is incompetent. Claims that the uranium was moved from any of Iran's nuclear sites were dismissed by the White House press secretary lying sack of shit Caroline Levitt on Thursday. We were watching closely and there was no indication. Yeah, whatever. Here's what she says. She's a liar. The initial European intelligence assessment is unlikely to go down well with Stinky the Clown, who is currently engaged with a fight with his own spy agencies. Oh, fight with your spy agencies. You know more than they do, don't you? What an idiot. About the impact of U.S. strikes on 3 Iranian nuclear sites. On Thursday, CIA Director John Ratcliffe said the strikes had caused severe damage, John Ratcliffe, another liar, to Iran's nuclear facilities after a leaked report downplayed the extent of the operation. John Ratcliffe should be nowhere near military secrets. According to Ratcliffe, key sites have been destroyed and would have to be rebuilt over the course of years. But he stopped short of supporting Trump's claims that the operation on Iran's nuclear program had been a spectacular military success that obliterated the facilities. Diaper Donnie's claims were supported by Israel's Atomic Energy Commission, which said on Wednesday the U.S. and Israeli strikes had rendered the Fordo underground enrichment site inoperable. Yes, but didn't, we'll see. In a handout, the IEEC claimed the devastating strikes destroyed the site's critical infrastructure. The new U.S. intelligence assessment comes a day after a leaked early report from the Defense Intelligence Agency played down the extent of the destruction and concluded that the key components of Iran's nuclear program could be started in months. You know you got problems if the DIA is leaking intelligence reports ahead of your press briefing.
Not good.
You got a problem, and you got a problem. Your intel department's like, oh, we're getting this out before these fuckers lie. And that's what's going on. Yay, America! Fuck we're doing. We're just at each other's throats behind the doors, making shit up and then denying it happened and then making more shit up and then who knows what the fucking truth is. Deliberately vague. Just the way Vladimir Putin wants our government to operate. Speaking at the NATO summit that in The Hague on Wednesday, you guys let Trump in your country? What the hell's wrong with you? What the hell? Anyway, Trump rejected that. He's a felon. Yeah, geez, man. He might be stealing shit
unfortunately, he hasn't been tried for an actual international crime. So, not really their jurisdiction. That's all I'm saying.
State Department banned felons from entering the country. Anyway, Trump rejected that assessment, insisting the country's spies did not have the full picture, blah, blah, blah. This was a devastating attack that knocked them for a loop. No word on what a loop means. There's no actual physical measurement for a loop. It didn't accomplish anything except blow up some buildings. Yay, you blew up some buildings. They're still enriching uranium. I don't know why you want to destroy enriched uranium. It's going to cause a major economic, ecological disaster, but whatever. The impact of the U.S. strikes also downplayed by Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. In his first public remarks, he said Trump's claims were exaggerated. They could not achieve anything significant. Khamenei said in a video message broadcast on state television. Well, he's an asshole too. So just assholes talking. The U.S. launched strikes on Sunday on 3 of Iran's nuclear facilities, Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. At Fordow, which is buried deep in the mountain north of the city of Qom, U.S. stealth bombers dropped several 14,000 kilogram bunker buster bombs. Wow. I bet you that was a big old stinking explosion, all right. Collapsing the entrance and damaging the infrastructure. But the facility itself was not destroyed. It's just found. You missed it. Big old bomb and you missed. Iran's ongoing nuclear program was the heart of the recent conflict with Israel, which Israel officials see as existential to their country. Isn't everything? Iran was previously subject to an international nuclear deal known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA, which saw the country receive sanctions and relief in exchange for strict limits on nuclear activities. During his first term in office, Dumpling Donnie withdrew his U.S. from part of it, slamming as worked out or negotiated, because he's an idiot. Since then, the other signatories of the deal have scrambled to keep Iran in compliance, but Tehran considers the deal void and has continued uranium enrichment, which at current levels is 60%. It's still technically below the weapons grade level of 90%, but still far above the 3.6% permitted under the JCPOA. Yeah, 3.6% is enough to run a nuclear reactor. 90% enrichment, and you got yourself a nuclear explosion chain reaction that will, annihilate everything in sight. Anyway, Iran maintains the nuclear program is peaceful and purely for civilian purposes, which is complete horseshit. But again, we have nuclear weapons.
Yeah, it's fine.
Nobody said we can't have them.
Exactly. Whether you think Iran is the, whatever, villain of the world or whatever the fuck Trump was quoted as saying.
Yeah, right. The axis of evil. They used to be part of that.
Only fair that other countries are allowed to do what they want within their country. I don't understand why, the U.S. has the right, which they don't, but they act like they have the right to put their nose in the business of other countries and tell them what to do. They can do right? They can do all that stuff, sanctioning and blah, 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 and that's all they can do. We're not going to buy anything from Iran. Okay, good. That's all you're... Why are you trying to bully them, right, with other countries in the Middle East to tell them what to do?
Because they are the enemies of Saudi Arabia and Israel. So
let them deal with it then.
I think
I don't like it yet again. Why does the U.S. care, man?
They don't have oil. They have oil. Oil.
I know.
Get it? Oil. That oil thing. That's our foreign policy. Is all about oil. Always is. Ever since oil was invented or discovered. All right. So what's your alliteration, was it?
My alliteration is Iran irritates irrelevant institutions.
Idiot. Irrelevant institution. Right. There you go. Irrelevant. Iran irritates idiot would have done it. Okay. Next story. So one more story. Okay. It's a short one. Yeah, so space.com, the Rubin Observatory takes its first look at the night skies. We've been talking about this for a while. We're going to have some great pictures of the sky now. It's from Kenna Hughes Castleberry of space.com. The Rubin, The Rubin Observatory houses an 8.5 meter Simone survey telescope and its corresponding LSST camera. Is the largest digital camera in the world. Using these tools, the Rubin Observatory studies faint objects in our solar system as astronomers try to study the dark matter that makes it the majority of our universe. Where is it? The Rubin Observatory resides in Cerro Panchon in the Andes Mountains in Chile. That's right, way up there in the Andes. Why is it amazing? The Rubin Observatory is born out of a decades-long quest by astronomers to understand what dark matter actually is. In the 1990s, a group of scientists began to brainstorm an idea for the telescope just focused on studying dark matter. According to the Rubin Observatory, this idea for dark matter telescope began to gain traction, and by the 2010s, the instrument, now called the Large Aperture Synoptic Survey Telescope, or the LSST, started to be built in Chile, as the telescope was designed to study extremely faint objects in our solar system along most of our asteroids. It needed to be placed away from cities and other areas with more light pollution. The LSST camera, comprising of 3,200 megapixels, was built by the SLAC SLAC National Accelerator Laboratory in California before being shipped to Chile. In 2019, the Large Synoptic Survey Telescope was renamed the Vera C. Rubin Observatory in honor of the female astronomer Vera Rubin and her work studying dark matter. The Rubin Observatory released its first batches of images on June 23rd, which is just the other day, as it had scanned the night skies for only a few days prior, finding over 2,000 asteroids in the process. With a scanning of the area over 45 full moons in size, the Rubin Observatory can survey our galaxy 10 to 100 times faster than similar observatories. So there's your information. The pictures are fascinating. You can go and look at them, and there's a link on here. You can provide it to these people, but let's see. I guess you just go to the link to space.com and you can see the photographs. And you will see them. But I don't have the pictures. I can't really describe them. It's the sky. Okay?
It's the sky.
Space. So, yeah, it's pictures. So, again, there's going to be more pictures to come. This is just an update. And I guess we need a headline.
Okay,
But
our
it's in
headline
operation.
is Special Space Felatope. I can't think of a third one. Can't think of a third one.
Special space eyes.
Stars signal special space light leaks less
Stupendous.
slowly.
Super stupendous. Well, what I'm saying about this, in all actual seriousness, is they're going to identify some asteroids that they haven't seen before, and maybe some are headed towards Earth, right? Oh wow, we found it just in time, Anyway, we don't know everything that's out there. We know like 0.1%, right? And we don't know what dark matter is, as we're just about to find out. So, on to your story.
Okay, let's roll our
the
segue wheel. See what you must do.
Wheel
It is
of
non sequitur.
segues.
Give me a non sequitur for. This is going to be a longer segment here. We're going to talk about DeepSeek. Now, I have seen this on the internet multiple times in multiple ways. I don't really know what it is. So we're going to answer that question. What is DeepSeek and why should I care? This is from Kagla Urin and David Walsh with AP on Euronews. Euronews Tech News. DeepSeek R1, the latest in a series of models developed with fewer chips and low cost, is challenging the dominance of OpenAI, Google, and Meta. But what's worse about it is that it's Chinese. No, I will let Google steal all my data. I will let Meta steal all my data. But the Chinese stealing my data. That's my assumption here is why it's a big deal. The latest DeepSeek models released this month are said to be both extremely fast and low cost. DeepSeek R1, the last of the models developed with fewer chips, is already challenging the dominance of giant players such as OpenAI, Google, and Meta, sending stocks in chip maker NVIDIA plunging on Monday, this was back in January, so this was back in January when the stocks of NVIDIA plunged. I don't like when articles which are very time-based, right, don't just put the date of when things are happening, because then I'm like, this was not on Monday, this was whatever, the 26th of freaking January when this article, particularly that I'm reading. The Hangzhou Chinese-based company was founded in July 2023 by Liang Wenfeng, an information and electronics engineer and graduate of Zhejiang University. Part of the incubation program of High Flyer, a fund Liang found in 2018. Liang, like other leading names in the industry, aims to reach the level of artificial general intelligence that can catch up or surpass humans in various tasks. Operating independently, DeepSeek's funding model allows it to pursue ambitious AI projects without pressure from outside investors and prioritize long-term research and development. DeepSeek's team is made up of young graduates from China's top universities, with a company recruitment process that prioritizes technical skills over work experience. In short, it is considered to have a new perspective in the process of developing artificial intelligence models. DeepSeek's journey began in 2023 of November with the launch of DeepSeek Coder, an open-source model designed for coding tasks. This was followed by DeepSeek LLM, which aimed to compete with other major language models. DeepSeek version 2, released in 24 of May, gained traction due to its strong performance and low cost. It also forced other major Chinese giants such as ByteDance, Tencent, Baidu, and Alibaba to lower the prices of their AI models. It was so good that they had to lower their prices. DeepSeek version 2 was later replaced by DeepSeek Coder version 2, a more advanced model with 236 billion parameters available, designed for complex coding prompts. The model has a high context window of up to 128,000 tokens. A token is a unit in a text. This unit can often be a word, a particle such as artificial intelligence, or even a character. For example, artificial intelligence is great may consist of 4 tokens: artificial intelligence, rate, and exclamation mark. A context window of 128,000 tokens is the maximum length of input text the model can process simultaneously. So that can be 128,000 words, periods, commas, a lot of things, like basically an entire essay worth of context. A larger context windows allows a model to understand, summarize, or analyze longer text. This is a great advantage, for example, when working on long documents, books, or complex dialogues. The company's latest model, DeepSeek version 3 and DeepSeek R1, have further consolidated this position. With a 671,000 parameter model, DeepSeek version 3 requires significantly fewer resources than its peers, while performing impressively in various benchmark tests with other brands. DeepSeek R1, which was launched in January of 2025, focused on complex tasks such as reasoning, coding, and math. It is capable in all areas. It challenges 0.1, one of ChatGPT's latest models. So it's a very strong contender against ChatGPT, which is probably the most well-known AI model in the Western world. Although DeepSeek has achieved significant success in a short time, the company is primarily focused on research and has no detailed plans for commercialization in the near future, according to Forbes. So that's the difference, right? ChatGPT has a lot of access to commercial models, whereas DeepSeek is being kept in more of a private sector and has currently no limitations because, one of the major reasons DeepSeek has been managed to attract attention is that it is free for end users. So the first such advanced AI system available to use for free. Other powerful systems such as OpenAI O1 and Cloud Sonnet require a paid subscription. Even some subscriptions impose quotas on users. Google Gemini is also available for free, but free versions are limited to the older models. DeepSeek has no limitations. So you log in, I'm not going to tell you how to use it because you can figure that out yourself, because I don't want to go too long about this, but we've basically explained what DeepSeek is. It's Chinese. It's kind of wound up on the surface very quickly compared to the other AI models. And now Germany is looking to ban AI company DeepSeek after privacy concerns. From Pascal Davies, a German data protection official has accused the Chinese artificial intelligence AI company DeepSeek of illegally transferring user data to China. As the saying goes, if it's free, you're the product. Mikey Kamp, Berlin's Commissioner for Data Protection and Freedom of Information, reported DeepSeek to Apple and Google and asked the American companies to remove DeepSeek from their app stores. In a statement released on Friday, which is today, the 27th of June, Kamp said DeepSeek did not provide convincing evidence that users' data was protected as required by European law. DeepSeek's transfer of user data to China is unlawful, Kamp said, adding that Chinese authorities have far-reaching access rights to personal data within the sphere of influence of Chinese companies. Furthermore, DeepSeek users in China do not have the enforceable rights and effective legal remedies guaranteed in the European Union, Kamp said. He said that Apple and Google must now review the report and decide whether to remove the app. Kamp said her office had asked DeepSeek to either comply with EU laws for transferring data outside the bloc or pull its app from Germany, but that DeepSeek has not taken either option. We're just going to ignore your email. Under the EU's General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, companies are banned from sending data outside the region unless specific safeguards are in place in the country. DeepSeek made waves in January when it launched its AI model, claiming it was created at a fraction of the cost of competitors. But studies have shown there are concerns over cybersecurity, safety, including DeepSeek's RI's susceptibility to generating harmful and biased content. Yes, everyone's favorite thing to do with AI. How fast can you make it a Nazi? As in China's based company, the country law states that any data shared on mobile and web apps can be accessed by Chinese intelligence agencies, which is also generating national security fears. Italy banned DeepSeek from its app stores in January, citing data protection concerns. The country's data protection authority ordered a block on Hangzhou DeepSeek Artificial Intelligence and Beijing DeepSeek Artificial Intelligence. The Chinese companies behind the DeepSeek chatbot forced them to stop processing Italians' data. The move comes after DeepSeek reportedly told the Italian authorities that it would not cooperate with the request for information. So this is why they are looking to get banned in probably most of Europe, because they are not complying with laws and regulations, and that's really it. Is it because they're Chinese? I can't really say. I don't know if, I'm assuming, right, ChatGPT and, what was it, Gemini, and what was the other one? OpenAI's IO. I think they're all, they must all be collaborating with these regulations. Otherwise, you know, they would also be getting banned. But China is suspiciously not doing that. And not surprising, because it's a free app, and free apps make money off of you. That's what they do.
Nothing's free. Nothing's free. Are we doing a non sequitur? I guess I can do non sequitur about anything, can't I? Nothing's free, everybody. But I just always wonder, like, is there another version of me out there doing a bunch of crap? And if there isn't, there probably will be someday, right? Very soon, be some version of me out there doing stuff that I don't know about, and I'm getting bored. Can't wait. All right, so spin the wheel.
Oh my god, how do they know about my, you know, incurred debt? Probably because you shared it with them on OpenAI. Or, sorry, on DeepSeek.
Just everything. How about that time I buried that body? How does anybody know? Anyway,
another non sequitur for your stories.
Okay, this is a sad story, although he did live a long life. Bill Moyers has passed away at the age of 91. If you don't know who he is, we'll explain. This is from AP News, Fraser Moore. Bill Moyers, the former White House press secretary who became one of television's most honored journalists, masterfully using a visual medium to eliminate the world of ideas, died Thursday at the age of 91. And we celebrate good journalism here, and Bill Moyers was definitely a journalist. He was not preoccupied with sensationalism. He wanted the facts. Moyers died in New York City Hospital, according to longtime friend Tom Johnson, the former CEO of CNN and assistant to Moyers during Lyndon B. Johnson's administration. Moyers' son, William, said his father died in Memorial Sloan Kettering in New York after a long illness. Moyers' career ranged from a youthful Baptist minister to deputy director of the Peace Corps, from Johnson's press secretary to a newspaper publisher, senior news analyst for the CBS Evening News, and chief correspondent for CBS Reports. White House press secretary, there's a picture caption, there's a picture of him with LBJ. But it was for public television that Moyers produced some of the TV's most cerebral and provocative series. In hundreds of hours of PBS programs, he proved that at home and with subjects ranging from government corruption to modern dance, from drug addiction to media consolidation, religion to environmental abuse. In 1988, Moyers produced The Secret Government about the Iran-Contra scandal during the Reagan administration and simultaneously published a book under the same name. Around that time, he galvanized viewers with Joseph Campbell and the Power of Myth, a series of 6 one-hour interviews with a prominent religious scholar. The accompanying book became a bestseller. Yes! Exposing religious hucksters. Love it. His television chats with Robert Bly almost single-handedly launched the 1990s men's movement. In his 1993 series, Healing of the Mind, which I have that book, had a profound impact on the medical community on medical education. In a medium that supposedly abhors talking heads, shots of subjects and interviews talking, Moyers came to specialize in just that. He once explained why. The question is, are we talking heads thinking minds and thinking people? Are they interesting to watch? I think most fascinating production value is the human face. Demonstrating what someone called a soft probing style in the native Texas accent he never lost, Moyers was a humanist who investigated the world with a calm, reasoned perspective, whatever the subject. For some quarters, he was blasted as a liberal. Oh no, he's a liberal. Like, that's a bad thing. He was blasted as a liberal. Oh my God, he's an open-minded person. Heretic. Oh my God, he considers other people's viewpoints are given us consideration. Oh my God,
you should not think anything. Stop thinking.
He wasn't born predestined to think a certain way. What?
Why is he having opinions? Stop doing that. I don't like it. It makes me feel bad. Blasted, yeah.
Anyway, blasted his work. What a stupid sentence. As well as his no-holds-barred approach to investigative journalism. It was a label he didn't necessarily deny. Call me a liberal. It's not an insult. You're an asshole. That's an insult. I don't even think that's an insult. Really. Anyway, I'm an old-fashioned liberal when it comes to being open and being interested in other people's ideas. Well, imagine that. He said during a 2004 radio, if you're a reporter and you're not a liberal, you're not a reporter. You're somebody just trying to finagle facts and present them in a way that people's minds are seeing your vision of the world. You have to be a liberal to be a reporter, because liberal means open-minded, and I don't know what's wrong with it. Sorry, there's nothing wrong with being liberal. As much you journalists, so-called journalists, want to claim there is. But Moyers preferred the term himself a citizen journalist operating independently outside the establishment. Public television and his self-financed production company gave him free rein to throw the conversation of democracy open to all corners, he said in a 2007 interview in the Associated Press. I think my peers at commercial television are talented and devoted journalists, he said another time. But they've chosen to work in corporate mainstream that trims their talent to fit the corporate nature of American life. And you do not get rewarded for telling hard truths about America in a profit-seeking environment. That's right.
You only
Once news
get
became ratings,
punished.
we only get the information that they want us to know. Over the years, Moyers was showered with honors, including more than 30 Emmys. 30 Emmys. Think about that. Think about the people that don't get one, right? And they're on good shows, right? It's like, that guy was great. He never got one Emmy. That's amazing. But
So yeah, they get posthumous.
You find the right
people. Posthumous. He's
that's
sorry,
either
never gave you one. You're dead now. You're not here to say thank you.
It's either it's either a reflection on him or a poor reflection on the state of news journalism that he just cleans up every year in the Emmys, because nobody else is out there doing it. Everybody else sucks at it. Anyway, he also won 11 George Foster Peabody Awards for journal. That's a journalism award. 3 George Polk Awards, and twice the Alfred I. DuPont Columbia University Gold Baton Award for Career Excellence in Broadcast Journalism. He won the Career Excellence twice. He must have had 2 careers. In 1995, he was inducted into the Television Hall of Fame. Again, not a lightweight. Born in Hugo, Oklahoma, June 5th, 1934, Billy Don Moyers was the son of a dirt farmer, truck driver who soon moved his family to Marshall, Texas. High school led him into journalism. I wanted to play football, but I was too small. But I found that by writing sports in the school newspaper, the players were always waiting around at the newsstands to see what I wrote, he recalled. He worked for the Marshall News Messenger at the age of 16, deciding that Bill Moyers was a more appropriate byline for a sports writer. He dropped the Y from his name. He graduated from the University of Texas and earned a master's in divinity from Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary, so he was brainwashed there. With that, good old-fashioned Baptist theological, whatever. Jesus is the Southerner. I don't know. He was ordained and preached part-time at 2 churches, but later decided his call to the ministry was the wrong number. He probably just saw through bullshit. Probably, I'm guessing. His relationship with Johnson began when he was in college. He wrote the then-senator offering to work in his 1954 re-election campaign. Johnson was impressed and hired him for a summer job. He was back in Johnson's employ as a personal assistant in the early 1960s, and for 2 years, he worked at the Peace Corps, eventually becoming deputy director. On the day JFK was assassinated in Dallas, Moyers was in Austin helping with the presidential trip. He flew back to Washington Air Force One with the newly sworn-in President Johnson, for whom he held various jobs over the ensuing years, including press secretary. Moyers' stint as presidential press secretary is marked by efforts to mend the deteriorating relationship between Johnson and the media, and the Vietnam War took its toll, and Moyers resigned in December of 1966, but he's probably because I can't do this shit, I can't lie to people, right? Of his departure from the White House, he wrote later, "We have become a war government, not a reform government, and there's no creative role left for me under no circumstances." There you go. Bill having a conscience. He conceded that he may have been too zealous in my defense of our policies and said he regretted criticizing journalists such as Pulitzer Prize winner Peter Arnett, then a special correspondent for the AP, and CBS is morally safer for their war coverage. You're covering the war too honestly. So he got tired of saying that.
Wait, you have to say we're heroes and everything we do is correct.
Yeah, he got tired of playing the bullshit game and resigned. Good for you, Bill.
I'm tired of that. 19, man.
I can't look at my children in the face. You know, Moyers became publisher of a Long Island-based Newsday and concentrated on adding news analysis, investigative pieces, and lively features. Within 3 years, the Suburban Daily had won 2 Pulitzers. He left the paper in 1970 after ownership changed. That summer, he had traveled 13,000 miles around the country and wrote a bestseller, The account of his odyssey, Listening to America. A traveler rediscovers his country. I hope this is still in publishing because I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna go to Audible and get it. I'm not gonna read it. I'll do the audio book. But seriously, Bill Moyers could really write. He is a great journalist, and I'm sure his books are all easy to read. Let's put it that way. His next adventure was in public television, and he won critical acclaim for Bill Moyers' Journal, a series in which interviews range from Gunnar Myrdal, the Swedish economist, to poet Maya Angelou. He was the chief correspondent of CBS Reports from 1976 to 1978, went back to PBS for 3 years, and then was senior news analyst for CBS from 81 to 86. When CBS cut back on documentaries, he returned to PBS for much less money. If you have a skill that you can fold with your tent and go wherever you feel you have to go, you can follow your heart's desires, he once said. Then in 1986, he and his wife, Judith Davidson Moyers, became their own bosses by forming Public Affairs Television, an independent shop that has not only produced programs such as The 10-Hour In Search of the Constitution, but also paid for them through its own fundraising efforts. His project in the 21st century included Now, a weekly PBS affairs program, a new edition of Bill Moyers Jr., and a podcast covering racism, voting rights, and the rise of Diaper Donnie, among other subjects. Moyers married Judith Davidson, a college classmate, in 1954. They raised 3 children, among them the author Suzanne Moyers and author TV producer William Cope Moyers. Judith eventually became her husband's partner, creative collaborator, and president of their production company. So rest in peace, Bill Moyers. Never rested his journalistic morals, or what do you want to call it? Never compromised. When he called himself compromising, I'm out of here. I'm not this guy. So the long story is over.
Well, it's good to, it's good to cover our very important, people that I didn't really know, I guess, personally, but people that people should know about, right?
You can get to know them.
Exactly. Right. You just need to know these people existed and that you're not alone in your own existence. There's people out there that maybe are just like you. And
journalist.
Exactly. And went through life and made decisions, made mistakes, and hopefully died proud of themselves at the end, died with no regrets.
Exactly. He said to LBJ, I love you, LBJ, you're a great guy, you gave me a job, but I can't tell lies for you. Bye, I'm out of here.
Integrity. Integrity is a very important personality trait no one ever talks about. No one ever talks about having integrity.
Hey.
No. And there's my non sequitur. Integrity is very important. That's right. You ain't
gonna find it in this. You're looking for integrity in the White House. It's been bound up and gagged and thrown in the basement. Darn right.
Give me an accurate metaphor simile for our culture segment here. We're going to talk about the protests in Venice against Jeff Bezos' wedding. That's right. One of the richest. I think Apartheid Clyde is still the richest. But Jeff Bezos is next in line. I think second in line of being the richest man in the planet. And he decided to, what Venice people are saying, rent out the city with all that money. This is from Al Jazeera. And it's written by, do we have an author to the We do not have an author, so we're just gonna talk about it. Amazon tycoon set to marry Lauren Sanchez in lavish Venice wedding as an activist protests growing disparity. There's a picture here, a large banner protesting the Amazon founder with, if you can rent Venice for your wedding, you can pay more tax. And then it's a picture of Bezos laughing. And the St. Mark's Square in Venice, Italy. Multi-billionaire Amazon founder Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez have arrived in Venice ahead of their star-studded weekend wedding event that has galvanized an eclectic assortment of protesting it. Bezos waved from a water taxi as he and Sanchez arrived on Wednesday, which I believe that was 25th of June, at the dock at the Aman Hotel, a 5-star hotel, the Grand Canal, with 2 security boats in tow. The lavish event was drawn protest by groups who took it as a sign of the growing disparity between the haves and have-nots. While residents complain, it exemplifies the way their needs are disregarded in the era of mass tourism to the historic and iconic lagoon city. About a dozen Venetian organizations, including housing advocacy, anti-cruise ship campaigners, and university groups, have united to protest the multi-day event under the banner "No Space for Bezos," a play on words which refers to the bride's recent space flight. Oh yeah, right. But his wife went on that stupid PR stunt where they went into space for They have a staged small-scale protest unfurling anti-Bezos banners on iconic Venetian sites. They were joined Monday, was the 23rd of June, by Greenpeace and the British group Everyone Hates Elon, which has smashed Tesla vehicles to protest Elon Musk, to unfurl a giant banner in St. Mark's Square protesting purported tax breaks for billionaires. On the 25th, other activists launched a float down the Grand Canal featuring a mannequin of Bezos clinging onto an Amazon box, its fist full of fake dollars. The British publicity firm that announced the stunt said it was a protest of the wedding, but against unchecked wealth, media control, and the growing privatization of public spaces. Yep, soon, Venice will only belong to Amazon. Oh, you're not allowed to live here unless you're working in an Amazon factory. I'm just saying, right? I know I talked about this, I think yesterday or the day before, but I've been playing a game called Cyberpunk 2077, and it's all about this history, maybe this coming future, where corporations own entire cities, right? Entire governments. And this is probably what people like Bezos and Elon and Facebook's founder, which I can't think of his name right now, that's what they want. They want to just own entire pieces of land and say, this is now Amazon Core. And everyone here lives and works for me, and they are my people, and we are now a country, and we're going to call ourselves Amazon Corp. So you gotta be careful.
Leon Musk already has a town.
Yeah.
Leon already owns a town in Texas.
Oh, does he? Oh, yeah. I remember this. Building the border wall there or whatever. And then
SpaceX town.
Everyone, I mean, yeah, you're right. This stuff does exist already. In China, it definitely exists. There's an entire town that's owned by the fast fashion industry.
Oh.
But, it gets worse. It's going to get worse and worse until entire countries are owned, right? That's the scary part when the entire country, right? Not just a town, but an entire country is,
fascism.
We're going to jail.
That's the definition of fascism.
Yeah. Or we're going to start a war against Brazil because that corporation that owns Brazil, we don't like them. So we're fighting over corporate interests, right? Instead of, we're already doing that in the quiet part. The quiet part, the loud part. It'll be the loud, actual. Why do we go against, start a war against those guys? Well, you see the company we're competing against owns that country. So now we have to beat them up. They can't have a company if we take all the resources. Anyways, yes, unchecked wealth. This is the problem. Unchecked wealth. They keep getting wealthier and wealthier, and soon they're going to be privatizing public spaces. There has been no comment from Bezos' representatives on the protest because he code. Local activists have planned a more organized protest for Saturday, so if you want to protest Bezos and you're not already in Italy, get on that plane now and go obstruct canals with boats and prevent guests from reaching the wedding venue.
I thought the wedding already happened.
No, it's happening right now, or I guess it's starting today, probably. They're having their bachelorette parties and all that stuff. And tomorrow, going to.
Damn, I can get him a gift.
Yeah. I forgot to send my dog shit in the mail to the venue. My bad.
Plenty of my money's already gone in his pocket. Thank you very much.
It will be a strong, decisive
collar.
protest, but peaceful, said Federica Toniniello, an activist with the Social Housing Assembly Network. We want it to be like a party, music, to make clear what we want our Venice to look like. Among the 200 guests confirmed to be attending the wedding are Mick Jagger, Ivanka Trump, Oprah Winfrey, Katy Perry, and Leonardo DiCaprio. Put those guys on your shit list. Venice, renowned for its romantic and canal vistas, hosts hundreds of weddings each year, not infrequently those of the rich and famous. Previous celebrity weddings, like that of George Clooney to human rights lawyer Amal Al-Mudin in 2014, were embraced by the public. Yeah, because as far as I know, George Clooney isn't sending his wife into space for some sort of PR stunt. Maybe he would have if he had a chance. I don't know. Hundreds turned out to wish the couple well at the City Hall. Bezos has a different political and business profile, said Tommaso Cassiari, a prominent figure in the movement that successfully pushed for a ban on cruise ships over 25 tons traveling through the Giudecca Canal in central Venice. Bezos is not a Hollywood actor, Cassiari said. He is an ultra-billionaire who sat next to Donald Trump during the inauguration, contributed to his re-election, and is contributing in a direct and heavy way to the new global obscurantism. Obscurantism. That means, ooh, I learned a new word today.
Oh,
obscurantism. The policy of withholding information from the public, a style of art and literature characterized by deliberate vagueness and obliqueness. Oh no, we're not making child soldiers and making them.
Post.
We're not doing any of that. I don't know what you're talking about. My kind of honestly,
you remember
that's my
the Washington
kind of comedy.
Post refused to endorse anybody for the first time in its history. Didn't endorse anybody because we don't want to piss off Trump. Oh no.
We don't want to piss off our viewers, our readers, but we also don't want to piss off Trump, so we'll just be obscure. Yeah.
People just cancel their subscriptions by the thousands, so I don't know how that helped them. He's a billionaire.
They go out for business. I mean, they should because freaking Jeff Bezos owns it. But that's my story. That's our update on the protest because that's what I wanted to focus on. Don't care about the wedding. I don't even know why we're reporting on it, but that's why I wanted to report on the protest, right? These are the people who are like, please fuck off. And these are why. And these are the reasons why you need to fuck off.
Yep. He's the guy, Jeff Bezos, is what happens to good-natured liberals who get too much money. Because he's a liberal, believe it or not. But yeah, once you get enough money, we're like, holy crap! I used to care about people. Now I care about my bottom line and all my friends. Because look, somebody poor insulted me. That's probably what happened, right? Somebody poor said something, or some liberal reporter said something. They swapped political parties. It's so easy for these rich guys to swap political alliances because they don't only care about the bottom line. Anyway, that's your metaphor for this would be like the Gilded Age, like the simile, the Gilded Age. It's like, the Vanderbilts are holding a big party, and I'm like, good. I hope there's a bomb at it. I ain't telling people. No, I don't care.
Invited to the Vanderbilt party. Okay, cool. Nepotism, I guess. Woo! Give me some of that nepotism.
Oh, look! JP Morgan's wife has a new dress. Ooh! And I'm like, yeah, tiny little children worked for 7 days to make her stupid dress. We're all worried about the rich people and how they get along. Never understood celebrity culture, never understood why we care about who they marry and who their kids are marrying or any of that shit.
I'm with you there.
They're not any better than me. Yeah, it's like, who invented this shit?
I don't know the guy. What do I care what he's doing with his life?
I wish he has a very happy and successful marriage.
Our day in history. Do we have a mic drop moment, by the way? You send me one?
I was working on it, but the one I got was pretty lame. So I watched it and I was like, maybe you can find one. But this day in history,
Are you looking for something specific, like
It
with
was
our
Jack
obituary?
This is the day that I was looking up something about Jack Lemmon. This is the day he passed away back in 2001. You know, the actor Jack Lemmon. But I was looking for a clip from The Odd Couple with him and Walter Matthau, but I didn't have time to find it. So,
all right, I'll see if I can find something with my academic research wheels.
That Odd Couple. There's an Odd Couple clip where Walter Matthau is going off on him about signing all his little notes. F you.
Yeah.
And he's got. It was 2 months before I figured out that F you meant Felix Unger. That was pretty funny. Anyway, that's what anything with Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau. Or you can find a clip from Some Like It Hot, the final scene. That's pretty funny. Anyway, this day in history.
Yes.
We're going back to the mist of time. We can wrap this up. 1787, British historian Edward Gibbon completed the history of the decline and fall of the Roman Empire. Right on, man. Everybody wanted to read that. All the good shit, all the good dirt on. We love that. We love the ancient dirt on the Romans. We love that stuff. Forget the rich guy dirt from modern times. We want to know about the old-timey dirt. 1844, Joseph Smith, founder of the Mormon Church, was murdered by an armed mob in Carthage, Illinois. They said, take that cult and get the hell out of here with that cult. And of course, the Mormons ended up in Utah eventually, where they settled Salt Lake City. 1846, Charles Stewart Parnell, an Irish nationalist and leader of the struggle for Irish Home Rule, was born in Avondale County, Wicklow. Charles Stewart Parnell, perhaps a relative of ours. It is Stewart the traditional spelling. 1862, during the first Battle of Cold Harbor in the American Civil War, Commander General Robert E. Lee attacked Union troops, driving them back in disorder and forcing them to withdraw to the south side of the Chickahominy River. The troops were the Union troops weren't that well trained in 1862. They hadn't really been well trained yet, I don't think. 1917, and during World War I, Greece declared war on the Central Powers. The Central Powers being, I guess, the Allies? I'm confused. I don't know what Central Powers means. In 1930, American businessman and philanthropist Ross Perot was born. He was an independent candidate for U.S. president in 1992. Thanks, Russ. He helped defeat the Bush and gave us Bill Clinton and 8 years of prosperity. But other than that, he was around in 1996, and he got even fewer votes. But anyway, he didn't win any. Yeah, well, not really a great guy. I mean, he gets a lot of credit for being a great guy and a philanthropist, but he's an asshole. I mean, here's an example of Ross Perot. When they built the Vietnam Wall, they had a contest. Let's build the Vietnam Memorial, and Ross Perot was on the committee, right? Because he was this big businessman who had a lot of whatever. Anyway, when the winner was an Asian girl, he decided, oh, she's Asian. Oh, an Asian making the monument. Yeah, so Ross Perot's a piece of shit. Fuck him. 1977, Djibouti gained its independence from France. Man, I'm sorry. Anybody that thinks like that.
And that's why no one in France has an ass.
Why is that? Is that right? No more booty. Huh?
They lost their booty,
is that
man.
Djibouti?
It's a bad joke. I'm sorry. There goes my bad pun. There goes my tell a joke.
There you go. There you are. Nobody in France has a booty. All right, that was in 1977. 2007, after having served as chancellor and the exchequer. I don't know, I've never seen that word before. British Labour Party Gordon Brown became Prime Minister of United Kingdom. I forgot all about Gordon Brown. He replaced everybody's favorite George W. Bush's favorite lapdog, Tony Blair. 1871 is our featured event. 1871, the Japanese yen is made the official monetary unit of Japan. First minted in 1869, the yen was adopted as Japan's official monetary unit this day in 1871. 2 years without official money. That's weird. When the government suspended the exchange of clan notes, money issued by federal lords that had circulated since the 16th century. That's pretty cool. I would like to get my hands on some of those clan notes. That'd be worth a lot. Our feature biography, Jack Lemmon, American actor, born on February 8th, 1925. Wow. He would be turning 100 this year, but he didn't make it that far. He was born in Newton, Massachusetts. Only made it to 76. Died June 27th on this day, 2001, in Los Angeles. Happy, well, glad that he was around, I guess. Not happy death day. It's not his birthday. And 1869 of the birthdays today. Emma Goldman, American anarchist. Emma Goldman, born in 1869. Want to know more about her. 1880, Calvin Keller, who is not an anarchist. American author and educator. Born deaf, dumb, and blind. 1927, Bob Keeshan, American producer and entertainer, also known as Captain Kangaroo. Excuse me. Born on this day, 1927, and Ross Perot's birthday. We covered that 1930. And J.J. Abrams, American writer, director, producer, born 1966. I guess he took over the Star Wars franchise. J.J. Abrams, happy birthday. He's younger than me, born in 1966. He's turning not quite 60, 59 today. Our other National Day calendar is, let's see, we've got National HIV Testing Day. You just get tested every time you give blood, or every time you get a blood test. Get HIV tested if you're active sexually. National Orange Blossom Day today. If you know the Orange Blossom Special, that's one of those great, what do you want to call it? Harmonica tunes, where you simulate a train with the harmonica. But it's National Orange Blossom Day. National PTSD Day. Post-traumatic stress disorder. You can get that from just about anything. I got it from living under the Trump administration. Post-traumatic stress disorder. I get up every day and go, wow, I can't believe I live in this fucking world.
Yeah, I have PTSD from being a middle child.
Oh, wow. I was the youngest.
Yeah, you
12.
have PTSD from that too.
Yeah.
Everyone's saying you had it good, and none of your suffering matters because you were born last. Yep.
This is me.
Yep.
My entire life punching up with nobody to punch down on.
Nope.
Yep. That's me.
Thank you for not punching down on me. I appreciate that, because you could have. There's lesser people out there, right, who could use their children as a relief from their PTSD of being young. There you go.
I don't think I've ever recovered from it. I don't think I'll ever recover from being young.
Exactly, it's
so
PTSD,
I get blamed for everything. You got nobody to blame. Oh, you did it. No, I didn't. Yes, you did, until you shut up and stop lying. That's basically the answer.
Yep.
National Sunglasses Day. It's National. Let me do this here, yeah. And
let me
it's National
get my
Onion
sunglasses.
Day. Get my national sunglasses out. These are the national sunglasses. Whoa, everything's pink in here.
Oh, God.
National Sunglasses Day. So, right on. So those are your spins of the wheel, your outrageous jokes, your mispronunciations, your news, your obituaries, everything for June 27th, 2025 on Before Onions and Ice Cream Cake.
Those glasses are wild. I love them.
What a combination.
All right. Well, I already told my jokes
You're
here.
just in my computer screen.
Also, micro, small, and medium-sized enterprise day for the UN. So celebrate all those companies who are trying to just make a living. They're not trying to take over the entire world by becoming billionaires. They're selling. The picture we have here is somebody selling their dried nuts in Brazil. Small company selling dried nuts in Brazil.
Somebody's selling their dried nuts. That's pretty extreme.
And then it's also United Nations recognizing deaf blindness, the distinct disability requiring specialized support and inclusion. That's right, you can be deaf and blind. Famously, was her Helen Keller was deaf and blind, and recognizing that people can still live a fulfilling life, even if they can't hear or see, and giving them the support they need for that. Did you get the link? I sent you a link
you didn't tell
to
that Helen Keller joke.
A video for the mic drop moment.
I'm waiting for it to load here. I'm waiting for
that's great.
Facebook Messenger to load.
I'm not wearing my sunglasses because they're prescription sunglasses. I'm already wearing contacts, so it'll just make me go blind. But thank you everyone for being here for another week, another Friday news dump. We hope you have a good weekend. Take care of yourself and take some time for yourself. The most important thing you can do is give yourself 10 minutes, 10 seconds of self-love, and that can improve your mood for the entire day. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel and follow us on all of the things, and turn that notification bell on so you know when we go live for Mucking Fun Day, so we can review what's been going on over the weekend and on Monday. Are you ready?
Oh, cool. You got Walter Matthau. Yeah, I'm ready. You
All
got
right,
Walter
then
Matthau. Cool.
Is our
Holy.
John Lemon, right? His name was John Lemon, right? I just forgot his name as soon as
Jack
Lemon. Jack Lemon mic drop
Lennon.
moment.
Of course, Walter Matthau, Jack Lemon made a bunch of movies together.
This is from 1988. They gave him a Lifetime Award. 1988.
A man walks into the Carnegie
Give him all
Delicatessen.
Walter Matthau impersonation.
He turns to the waiter and he says, "Can I have a fried shrimp sandwich and a chocolate frap?"
Man, we're dealing with
Just
tonight.
want you to know the kind of man we're dealing with tonight.
Hey, it's John Connery.
Yeah, look at him.
Anyway, we were 3 weeks into the making of the fortune cookie when I said to Jack Lemmon, "Why are you doing this movie? I have the best part." He looked at me for a second and he said, "Don't you think it's about time?" 4 years later, Lemon and I were
look at that,
driving
he's
to
crying.
Sedona, Arizona, see our respective sons at the Verde Valley High School. We stopped at a gas station for some soda pop and some sandwiches. There was an old Indian taking care of the place, and he went about his business with a rather dour look.
I said to him, pointing at Lemon,
So I said to him, pointing at Lemon, I said, "You know that man? He's a famous movie star." The old Indian smiled and he said, "You guys don't fool me. You're the odd couple."
10 minutes later, back.
10 minutes later, back in the car, Jack said, "He must have seen the movie."
Great joke teller. I don't I have
like
nothing to
it.
say. I just want to wait for him to finish.
I figured my knowing him so well was the reason he always seemed so familiar up there on the screen. It's not. It's just what he does.
This is the part where they get
allows us to see
sincere.
the tragedy and the comedy of the world through the eyes of someone we know. Someone he hints we may even be. Because in
I'm
the
impressed
words
he's sitting
of
by-
the poet and
He's
philosopher
sitting by Sean
Billy
Connery,
Wilder,
who also talks like this.
most actors can show you one or
Did it
two
on purpose,
things
maybe.
and they've
They both
emptied
talk
their
like that.
shell.
Does it
Oh,
with
look
a
at him.
Scottish
He's
accent.
tearing
Jack
up.
Lemmon is Macy's and Tiffany's and Sears Roebuck, catalog and all.
Yep. Lifetime achievement means it's almost
yeah.
over.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.